Welcome, Naila. I am so happy that you are here. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. I've been waiting a while for this. So it's an honor to have you on this show. And before we get started, a very short introduction because I want you to share in your own words, a bit more about you. So Naila has been working with me over the past couple of years or so. She has been dealing with multiple health challenges, but even as she has been, dealing with them, I'm really inspired by her commitment and her courage to her own healing. And she is an accomplished woman in her own right. And I know that this conversation will inspire so many of you dealing with your chronic issues, health issues. You may have felt, hopeless, or that you're feeling disempowered or helpless to do much. This conversation, I'm sure, will ignite that spark to take charge of your own healing. So let's get started right away. Welcome, Naila, once again to this show.
Thank you, Anindita. And I also feel honored. More than that, I feel very lucky to have found you in my life and to be with me on this healing journey. And thanks for inviting me.
What a lovely way to start. Really appreciate you. So, Naila, just start with a bit about yourself. I would, like our listeners, our audience,
Right,
to know a bit about what you do as a person,
right,
what
right.
interests you, anything that you want to share.
Right. So by training, I'm a graphic designer, and I started my career at Microsoft as a interface designer for the various apps, Microsoft Project app, doing the interface, and it was a very high pressure job. But very early in my life, I was 36 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had very little children. And I'm talking in terms of how the health and my career are quite intertwined, as all women know that it is. It really is that we have to make so many choices. And I made that choice to switch to teaching at that time because I could get off the summer. I could, my holidays and children's holidays, and it was a pace that I could function. So I have had a history the last 20 some years of dealing with multiple health issues, but I am a cancer survivor. But once you go through all those chemotherapies and radiations and all of that, life is never the same. And immunotherapies, life is never the same. But I knew from the beginning that the answer to this is not in the in the methotrexates and in steroids, which I had to take. And part of I developed an autoimmune, and which affected my eyes and my ears. So I was on very heavy steroids, and I went to quite a few naturopaths actually. I worked with one in New York, and then I very seriously worked with one in a German person who was working in London. And quite seriously, quite 8, 10 months, I worked with them, and I tried different things. Some of the things I knew that I had given up gluten. Um, I hadn't, I haven't had meat, and all of that I'd given up, and none of that was in my life, but something was not working. And, and COVID, of course, came, and it kind of rattled everybody's routines, everybody's rhythms, everybody's, circuits. And at that time, my daughter found Anindita on some podcast or some that she saw, and she was very inspired. And she actually set up my appointment with her, and I was skeptic because I had gone through so many. But she really resonated with me in just the first interview because she seemed very sincere and very committed to her work and to people that it seemed like that the people that she works with And and to be honest, I didn't find a very commercial angle either in her, which was also very redeeming. And I started that, and through these 2 years, I would say it has been a wonderful journey. She has become more of a friend. And because one thing that I didn't realize, that, okay, I'm exercising, I am eating right, why am I not healing? What is wrong? I am working with this naturopath, this functional medicine guy person who I like, and I am taking tons of vitamins, and not something is not working. And when I met Anindita, I realized two things which were very important. First of all, how do you function within your own realm? How do you function if you're living in certain part of the world where there are certain things that are just not available? You have to work with what you have. We don't grow asparagus. We don't grow Brussels sprouts. I mean, we have bhindi and we have tori in our lives. How do we work with those things? How do we work with our own environment? And to realize that how, and one other thing which is become more and more important as I'm aging, is that the realization that exercise and food is just one aspect. The other aspect is your sleep. The other aspect is how you perceive the world, and what kind of mental state, with which kind of stresses. And that relationship, I did not realize that how intrinsically it's tied to healing, how intrinsically nothing else would work if one of the wheels are off from the car. So um, that has been my healing journey with Anindita, because most of the time when I have my session, we end up meditating for 5 minutes. We end up talking about what has happened today, like, she's not a therapist, right? But she steers you to uh, to that kind of mindfulness. She made me eat chana for 5 minutes, and made me chew. So, I mean, this is a lot of unlearning, also unlearning the myths that you grew up with, that you can eat in front of the TV, you can eat your meals on the go. The meals are when you are stressed for time, stressed for anything, the one thing you neglect is yourself, which is your food. That you would survive on a samosa, you would survive on, and also a lot of little things on where is the hidden dairy that I'm taking, where is, and being that strict about food, it comes much later. I think it's just awareness, that if I am aware of my environment, my life, my body, that is what it starts. And, I have been off all steroids for now over a year, and all methotrexate for over a year. Um, a lot of my difficulties, my flare-ups, my bad mornings, my achy joints, all of that continues. But I think I have a little better grip on it. I don't have to go on steroids. I don't have to go on invasive things. And that would then reflect in other ways. And trying to be, at this stage in your life, the hardest thing is not the food. The hardest thing is changing your mindset, because food, you can just make your food. But if it it hasn't worked for me for years, till everything has to come together. So I am really grateful for meeting her, and now in some ways I have graduated from her program. But I don't want to let go, because I feel like if I let go, those reminders go away. That are you taking care of your sleep? Uh, are you, are you lighting that candle outside and inside? So those kind of things are so important. Yeah.
Thank you, Naila. That was so lovely to hear from your point of view. I mean, I know what some of the things that we've done, but what a journey it has been, and you're absolutely right. And first of all, I appreciate all, your honesty, your openness about sharing, what you've been through. It's been a really tough journey for you in the last 20
Right.
plus years. But as I said at the introduction, the courage and the commitment is remarkable. And also a few things that you mentioned, like the change in the mindset that we don't end up doing, the little things that we tend to overlook. I think that's being a huge shift. And you're absolutely right. The strict diet and the protocols and all are important and are necessary. Medications are necessary. All of these things are necessary, but they are not enough. And you are again absolutely right that, awareness is the key. It all starts with that awareness, and we often don't start there. And we go straight into the protocols and 30 supplements. And I remember that when you started, that is where we were. And I think we've just built it one step at a time. And when we do that, that's when we lay a strong foundation. And again, I think another very important point you mentioned, Naila, that you still have those flare ups, you still have those days. As anyone with any chronic condition will say, it's not that it ever 100% goes away. That's why I call healing a journey. It's a journey that you embark on. It'll
Right.
have its ups and downs, right? It's never going to be linear. But
Mhm.
having said that, you actually know what needs to be done. You have a slightly better grip, like you said, and that's amazing, isn't it? I mean, so
Yeah. Yeah.
that's where we all want to be,
Yes.
in charge.
And yeah, and the other thing that I want to say to my healing sisters and brothers, that uh, the life is never how you expect it to be. It will always have challenges, because that's life. Life means challenges. Life means that you're thrown a swing ball once in a while, and you have to deal with it. But the thing that has kept me going, like when my eyes came to a point, like I cannot read books anymore, and that was a very big part of my life. And fine print I could not read, and I still cannot. I just and thank God that we are born in this day and age of technology, that I have switched to audiobooks. I switched to reading things on the screen, hearing things on the screen. I hear the newspaper. So these kind of adjustments, and not to indulge in self pity, because that's one path that I have really fought to go down. That you just look at people who overcome adversity, of all kinds of adversities that happen in their lives, and to keep going. And in that journey, you find people like Anandita, who will, who you connect with, who have given me a lot of this courage to keep going. And I see her talking about her daughter in a very pragmatic, practical way, and how she took charge of it. And that is what inspired my daughter to actually say that, look, how she talks about it. It's coming from very personal, very from deep inside the heart. So in that aspect, I would say that that's another aspect of our lives, that we need to keep looking and saying that, okay, we shall overcome, we shall overcome, we will keep on living. And I'm a cancer survivor twice, and I just never felt that I have to give up. I had never felt that I have to just say that, no, I cannot go on. And somehow kept adjusting life, so that, a scale of work and all of that, which takes a lot of recalibration, which takes a lot of, it's like control, alt shift, start over again.
Yes.
And you do. And you need people in your life who can give you that strength. And some of those are friends, but those are professionals.
Yeah. I think, something that you shared. I mean, it reminded me of a quote. I think it's by John Lennon. Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans.
Yes.
So I love that quote because yes, you're right. It's absolutely a reminder that life will give you these curveballs. And in fact, yes, it's that is the lesson that I learned the hard way when my daughter went through those severe health issues. And in I don't know whether I've shared with you, Naila, but I think I used to write a blog on eczema in Indian perspective about our experiences. In fact, her dermatologist had sort of said that, why don't you write about your experience? And I was willing to share my experiences. Most people don't want to talk about these things because they feel that it's, I don't know, I mean, what they feel. But I thought that by sharing our experiences, it would probably, help someone else who's going through this. So anyway, to cut a long story short, I started a blog in 2013, and one of the posts I've stopped writing in that blog because I write in other places now, was when life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that was our motto. In fact,
Right,
that's how
right,
I brought up my daughter. Like, this is
right.
so which is the opposite of self-pity. Of course, I mean, we do wallow in self-pity from time to time. I have done that. But yes, you cannot stay there. I think
You
that's
cannot
what
stay there.
you cannot
Yeah,
stay there. I mean, we need to acknowledge those feelings that we are feeling really bad about ourselves
yeah, yeah.
and sad for ourselves, but we can't stay there. So we have to find a way back. And yes, you're right. People can be there in your corner to help you. So tell me, if let's just a few things, because I know that people, who are listening to this or watching this, it would help them to know um, what made those years feel the most difficult for you? Like when you were going through, and I know you're going through, but you've been through, tougher challenges in the past. So what were you feeling physically and emotionally? And I'm sure that's probably tied into also what made those years even more difficult or the most difficult at that time.
Right. For anybody who has been through that journey, anybody who is a cancer survivor, they would know how difficult going through chemos and multiple chemos and living with the fear of recurrence and living also on that borderline of mortality of having a third stage cancer, whether you're going to make it. All of those things are really, really difficult physically, emotionally to go through. And I think also that I was too young to be aware of. I'm saying that I was too young even 8 years ago to be aware of. It just takes some wisdom. It takes some a reflection. It takes I think your children growing up that they teach you, and in my teaching I also have learned from the college students that I uh, teach, that the kind of adverse backgrounds they come from. So adversity just doesn't come in form of health, it comes in various forms. And how do we function, how do we um, so it is a difficult journey for anyone who is going through it. And it takes a lot of keeping your feet rooted on the ground. Like I look at a tree and how
Yeah.
rooted it is, and how the tree has a heartwood. The center is the heartwood of the tree, and that's the hardest part of the tree, the most precious wood. But it's dead wood. As the tree grows, the inside is dead, and the outside is the sapwood that provides life. But that dead wood keeps the tree standing. That gives the tree that strength, that structure, that connects it to the roots, to its shoots. So life, nature is a really good analogy of how we survive, or how we weather the storms, and how we age. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that analogy. And I actually didn't know. I mean, I must have read it at some point in geography,
right.
maybe, but it's such a beautiful analogy. And you're absolutely right. Adversity teaches us. I mean, we learn the maximum lessons from adversity, and not just through our own, but even from others that we interact with. And it's in fact, there is another, I love quotes. I think, quotes and books. Uh, if we all threw our, and somebody said this, if we all threw our problems into a pile, we would soon take back what's ours. as we saw
Mm-hmm.
others,
Right.
So that's actually true.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some of these things keep us grounded. So thank you for sharing that analogy. I mean, that's such a lovely way of putting it, and we can learn a lot from nature too. So if we, of course, so that is what has been in the past, and we grow through what we go through, and I think that's something that we're constantly doing.
Right.
We are not the same person we were a year ago, maybe even 6 months ago, and we will not be the same person,
Right.
say, 1 year down the line. Life will happen, or. So how is your life different now, day to day, in how you feel and the way you live? I mean, and that can be from 6 months, 1 year, 20 years, whichever. But how is your life
Right.
different now, do you think?
My life, there are two or three things that I have come to reconcile. First of all is the awareness of who we are and at what stage we are, what are our abilities. If you and making those adjustments in life. Like I have gone from teaching full time to being part time to doing many shows every year to just scaling back, to be able to get up one morning and say, okay, my body is telling me that this is not a good day, let's take a break. Or that, oh, this is going to be a good week, so we could probably accomplish some things. So making those kind of adjustments in your life and not having too much demands for at least a driven person like me, that was a very big lesson, you know to do that and to be gentle to your body and to your mind. And we you know us women, a lot of times we think that having a day of massage and relaxing is a good thing, and it certainly is wonderful. But I think that state of mind has to be every day. That where can we take a break? I mean, that if you're a young mother, you don't have time to relax. But then being aware at least helps. That let's not take too many challenges, because our health requires us to function and to be there for ourselves and for others. So
So
I
I
think
think
that's
you made a very important point there, Naila, and I think that's something that we are not taught.
right,
I'm right that we need to learn how to be guided by our own bodies, especially
right.
as women. Actually, we are taught I think, the opposite of this. So it's like
Yes,
a
yes,
relearning, unlearning, and relearning.
right, right.
Unfortunately, the
Yeah,
conditioning sort of, we know this intuitively when we are children, very young children. All of us know this. But as women, as we grow older, we learn all the things that we are not supposed to be doing. So I think a very important point that you mentioned is being guided by your own body, and that we need to do at any point in time. And you're absolutely right. What we can do when we are a young mother with a newborn baby is not, how much self-care we can practice that time is not the same as when the children are, say, my age. Like my children are much older. I can
right.
definitely put in much more time. So it's going to keep changing, and we need to keep changing with it. But before
Yes,
that, we need to be in tune with ourselves. And
yes.
that's where it starts. Otherwise, you're right. It's not about the day at the spa, which is amazing, by the way. I mean,
Yeah, it
I
is.
so I do go from time to time. I go once a month, and that's important. But what you do every day matters more, as you rightly said. It's that 5 minute pause day to day. It can be so simple, right? But it's so
Yes,
effective.
yes.
So yeah, so that's a very, very important point. So what are some of the things, I know you've been through a lot, so you can pick up at any point, at any point in your life, but what
Right.
are some of the things, in the recent past that you've been able to do that once felt out of reach? Because you've mentioned that obviously you now prefer audiobooks because you're not able to read the fine print. But on the other hand, what are some of the things that you're now able to do that maybe you were not able to do earlier? Anything that you think is
Well, the thing was that anybody on an autoimmune journey is always looking. It's a quest. It's a quest to a to a destination which is more of a journey than a destination. And you're always saying that, okay, if I do this, maybe it'll get better. If I do that, it'll get better. And it's frustrating because I thought I was doing everything and it's not getting better. So the one thing that has happened in the past 2 years, and I have to thank you for that a lot, is that how to live within your cultural and within your own, not just cultural, but within your own milieu, your own environment, and function within that. Like how, what are things that just to all the subsies that we have, all the vegetables that we have, how do we work with those? How do we work if we are a vegetarian? How do we function? How do we take care of our protein and create a balance where you feel that you are doing everything? And once that I reached that point, which I feel that I was doing everything, it was a inner satisfaction that, look, I am doing everything. Now, you know, oh, should I be doing this? Should I be eating this? Oh, I had sugar. Oh, I had cake. So also, I think that a lot of functional medicine doctors are very unforgiving, and Anindita gave me that and but I must say that I was an easy person because I don't have food cravings in that way. I didn't have. I was exercising regularly and all of that, but finding that little balance and saying it's okay to have a piece of cake sometimes. It's okay to slip once in a while, to have it's okay as long as you are aware of what is happening inside your body, as long as you know that the food you're eating, the kind of energies it's generating, and the kind of effects it would have on your immediate mood, on your weekly mood, on your monthly mood. I think those are the factors that I have learned in the past 2 years, that I have reached a point also where I have the willpower to go to a dinner and not be tempted. That's another thing, because the temptation to stay well, the temptation is far too strong than the temptation to slip into, this food binging.
Mm. You I think two things that you said. Well, of course, I work, with this, so I know. But still, I mean, two things that you pointed out. One is that this is our life, okay? So we need to make it work in our lives, in
Right,
our routines. Expecting women to do otherwise, or even men for that matter, it doesn't work. It's not sustainable. So I think the whole approach, that, and this is something I learned the hard way when I was dealing with my daughter, and then of course over the past 8 years of working with mostly women, that we need to make it work for wherever you are right now, right?
right,
So it has to fit into your life is what I'm trying to say. So when you can fit into your life, so no matter what vegetables are available, no matter what
right,
kind of diet you prefer, what kind of taste preference you have, what kind of energy levels, so it has to be customized, and you are the best judge of that.
right,
I
right,
mean, I can only guide, and I think that's where it works. And you're right. You are really, you have been really committed to this, so it
mm,
just made it much easier. But this is the only way that it works. This is the only way that it's sustainable. So it's
right,
this is a, and that's probably where we've reached a stage, and it's true with the clients that I work with, that you reach a stage where you don't want to do that anymore. Or
right,
even if you do something or you take something, you do it with some intention or with some awareness, right?
right,
And that's okay,
yeah,
because the point is not to survive, the point is to thrive and find that balance.
yeah.
So I think really, really important. And just coming to the last couple of points that I wanted to ask you, was there a moment that you realized that you trusted your body again, or that you developed a better relationship? Is there anything that shifted for you? And what inner shift made the biggest difference for you, if it was connected? Anything that you would like to share?
Yes. So uh, a lot of it was also just growing up west, and a lot of it was also that this information that is available to women now was not ever available even 15 years ago. We didn't have this kind of access to, like our monthly cycles, and when this medical science, who has made tremendous, you know, there are tremendous success that it has made. But on the other hand, it is not holistic. Like if you put on immunotherapy, the way it kind of screws up your uh, adrenalines and all your the system and your cycles, nobody was talking about it. So I think that that kind of an approach really helps. And another thing, sorry, I just deviated, but but the one other thing that I would say, which is uh, which is very important, was that when these kind of things happen to me, to my body, and when you're going through it, there's a lot of times that we turn around and say, why me? And why is I took care of my body, I ate well, I exercised. Why is my body betraying me? And I think through a gentle process and through going through this kind of a healing journey, I have come to a point where I'm actually thankful to my body that that it stood by me. It did gave me strength to heal. It just didn't give up on me. So this switch was huge. Suddenly, the way you look at your body becomes really different. It is your friend, and you're not fighting against it. You're working with it.
And I think this is truly the biggest shift that I think I find that most women make. Because as I said, I mostly work with women with autoimmune conditions, because I find that most of us are, have learned to be at war with our bodies. Like we are cutting things out, we are suppressing things in our bodies, we are, even the language that we use is is like, it's a war language. uh,
Right,
so so what I realized, and that's what over the years I developed the body wise healing framework. It's like being guided by your own body. In fact, we've done a few activities where making your body a friend, writing a letter, all of these are very, they seems very simple, but over a period of time they actually sort of change the way we look and appreciate our own bodies, which is what, because this is not something that again we are taught or we know how to do. In fact, just the opposite, the social media and the messages that we get are just the reverse.
right,
But it's such a huge shift to know, because then and you don't need me to tell you whether you're on the right path or not. So that's really huge. And actually that brings me to someone who's listening or watching and who feels stuck and uncertain or not confident, because they're not here yet. What would you tell them about finding hope and taking their first step?
Well, it is a journey and it's not going to be easy, but um, it's like riding the wave, and you adjust yourself as the wave goes up and the wave goes down, and just finding that rhythm, just finding that, okay, if I do certain things, it's going to make me feel better. It's eventually going to get me off those awful steroids. It's going to, and it's possible. I have seen it. It's really possible. It can happen. So just that hope is that stay with it. Don't give it up. Stay with it. This is natural healing. This is listening to your body. This is counter to what we are told all the time. That dard hai to, if you're in pain, take a Panadol. If you're in pain,
Push
take,
through and
yeah,
fight
yeah,
through and
yeah, yeah.
constantly.
So that is one thing that I would say to people, that find your own Panadol.
That's lovely. And
Yeah,
what a lovely way to end the conversation, so that, basically stay with it. As you said, it takes time. It's not a
yeah,
quick fix. The way I say it, it's a marathon and not a sprint. So you have to prepare for it mentally, emotionally, and physically. But yes, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Is there anything, Naila, that I have not asked you that you would like to share as we end this?
I think I've spoken about most things, but what I am also just discovering is that uh, having a group of women who have been through this, and sort of a support group, and it's wonderful to see that everybody's human, everybody falters, but everybody gets up, everybody goes. And there are these, if there is this kind of emotional support of somebody emotionally holding your hand, you know, that and saying it's okay, it's okay to ride through this flare up, and you just see where you went wrong, and it's okay. So that's another aspect that I just wanted to say, how important the women fraternity is in.
Um, Actually, I think it's a very good place to, to pause, because yes, you are absolutely right. Healing happens in community. Of
Right,
course, we work together and I'm in your corner, but this is something that I've always known and I've been trying to find my way. So I'm actually working on a couple of things, so that I'll be sharing that soon.
right,
And the community has always been at the back of my mind, just was trying to find the right format, etc. But I think I'm getting there. And I know you're part of one such community with me. So thank you, Naila. Thank you for sharing
thank
all
you,
your
Anindita.
insights,
Thank you.
experiences.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. I'm so happy that, you came
And
on to the show.
and thank you for inviting me, and thank you for giving me this confidence, and I'm grateful.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, okay, bye bye.